What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. My name is Braden Carlson.
My name is Taylor.
And my name is Shane, or as you might know me, Postart.
And yes, Matt is not here. To nobody's surprise, he's now a member of his HOA board and didn't think that there would be any conflicting issues with the meetings being the same night that we recorded the podcast for the past 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Something
Almost
like
past
that.
2 years.
All right, well, that means we are Matless in Seattle for this week, and I guess once a month for the foreseeable future, however long he owns this house. So, great. That's not going to be a problem at all.
Bully him in the comments. Get him to leave the board.
Yeah, you think,
I think that's how he got on the board, if I had to guess.
He got bullied into it?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, well, anyway, I guess it's not really a pertinent topic for Matt to be a part of, but we always like having him here. But we're talking about introductory rockets for high performance stuff. So we're 99 episodes in, and probably since about episode 3, people have requested that we do an episode about high and fast flying rockets, to which none of us really felt qualified to do. But now, let's see, we all have 30,000 or higher. We all have Mach 2 or higher. Taylor and I have 40,000 or higher. So, I mean, I think we're fairly decently qualified at this point. Shane's still never done anything minimum diameter, which is almost a harder flex, I guess, that it's still gone Mach 2. Shout out O Motors. Okay. Before we get into that, though, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has joined the new Anti-Gravity Group Patreon, patreon.com/AGGpod. As you know, we are entirely self-funded, and when I say that, I mean I pay for all of this. So we don't have any sort of income on the podcast except for the very rare occasion that we get an ad. We're kind of in this weird spot where the podcast is not quite big enough to have, like, big time advertisers, but not quite small enough that it's pretty much free to run. So thank you to everybody who's joined. There's 3 tiers available. They all get you the exact same thing. The cheapest one is $1 a month, and it's just ad-free early release episodes of the podcast, as well as some behind the scenes stuff from myself and Shane and Taylor and Matt. All 4 of us have access to this account. We can post pictures when we work on stuff. And you know you're going to want to be part of that, because if you want to see anything Matt or Shane or Taylor is working on, you cannot count on there being a video of it unless I'm there. So go check it out, patreon.com/AGGpod, or as always, there's a tip/donation link in the description of all the episodes if you want to help with administrative fees and, of course, paying for big rocket projects and motors and everything else we got going on. And one more thing, go comment on the Double Arcist video that just got uploaded on the Anti-Gravity Group podcast page on YouTube, because once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to pick one of the comments from that video at random, and that person's going to win a $100 Wildman Rocketry gift card. So you don't have to be subscribed to win it, but if you're not subscribed and you subscribe, it will get us to 1,000 subscribers faster. I guess increasing your chances. The fewer comments, the better chance you have at winning, right? So anyway, link will be in the description as well for those not on YouTube. But if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not subscribed, first of all, how dare you? Second, go click on the Double Arcus video and leave a comment to be entered to win automatically for free. Okay. I think that's all I got. Anything else, anybody?
I think that's it.
I like how, Taylor, your first ever post on the Patreon was fireworks.
Well, what happened was I had some progress on the Skeeter, and I was going to post it, but it was on the 4th of July, and I was prepping fireworks. I was like, this just doesn't quite feel right. So
That's fair. I mean, we've done videos on my channel about our fireworks shows.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I'm like, there's some overlap here, so I just...
Did you get a video of your display this year?
I think Matt did. We did it at Matt's
Dude.
parents' house, and it went unbelievably hard in the neighborhood. And everyone in the neighborhood, I guess, was messaging Matt's parents like, "I've never seen anything like that before."
That's right. That's right. The
So
AGG
anyway,
don't
we're
mess
invited
around.
back next year.
Nice. Nice.
Hopefully,
On a
the entire
Saturday.
neighborhood will pay for it. We'll see.
And all your fingers are still intact.
That's right.
Can't say that for a lot of people. Shane posted something too. You want to enlighten the folks real quick who don't know?
Yeah, it was just about the crowns, the tooth crowns for the Nike smoke fins.
That's so funny. Yeah, dude, those things, I can't wait for Taylor to see those in person because they're so thick at the bottom.
Yeah, they're
it's like
huge,
an inch and
man.
a half, dude. It's so absurd. Like, we know a 10-inch Nike Smoke is big, but as it was like printing, I was like, oh my God, that's huge. So, shout out to Dougie Dollars, Doug Hertzel, and Eric Beavers for live stream contributions that covered the outboards. And Eric gave me the motor that's going in the middle, too. So, really, between those two kind gentlemen, that flight has been covered. So, now we just need something for the Punisher. That's patreon.com/AGGpod. Okay, let's talk about this. High performance rocketry. I am the only one who followed the prompt to lay out an idea for each of the certification levels. So now
Not
I'm
true.
curious. Oh, you did it, Shane?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet. So it's just Taylor. So I think maybe
Well,
we
I'm
should...
still thinking of the same thing I thought when you sent me the prompt. So
Okay, well, you go. We'll have you go first then. So we'll say someone level 1 walks up to you. We're gonna do this for each of the cert levels. Someone level 1 walks up to you and says, "Hey, I want to do a really hashed, really fly flight," which is words that people say. A really fast and really high performance, probably most likely minimum diameter flight. What are you telling them to do?
for level 1, right?
Yeah.
Probably a Wildman Blackhawk 38 with
Interesting.
what, isn't that the easiest option?
Yeah, I think so, but for a reason I'll explain in a second.
Okay.
What motor?
Oh, I-600.
That's kind of... See, that was my assumed default, but I'm curious, Shane, what did you say?
I went Wildman Mini Mock and I-500, assuming
know-
that they didn't have hardware.
Yeah. What,
I
Taylor?
didn't know there was a mini mock. If I'd actually done my homework, I guess I would have found that.
So I put to do a scratch build with parts or to buy a Blackhawk 38 and cut it down, because the Blackhawk is still the old minimum diameter rocket trope of being way too long. But I didn't recommend the mini mock because they only have the carbon one on the website and it's really expensive.
That's fair.
However, this is a great personal recommendation because I have flown a Wildman mini mock on an I-500 with my first JB Weld video. The thing about that mini mock was it was carbon fins, but it was a fiberglass airframe. So I think if Tim made an all fiberglass mini mock, or even just doing that, the mini mock, fiberglass airframe, fiberglass nose cone, carbon fins, people would buy a lot of them because it is a really great entry level. I suggested for electronics doing a featherweight Blue Jay or an Easy Mini because 38 millimeter electronics bays are hard. It just sucks. It's so tiny in there. I had to like fight to fit an RRC2 and a lipo in mine, and I hated every second of it. So I 3D printed my own sled. Remember those days? But yeah, I mean it works, so I guess I can't really say anything bad about it. But it's a cool rocket. It's just, all the other mocks but smaller, or Falcons, which are really just also mocks. But yeah, I think a good like general rule of thumb if you're pretty new to rocketry and you're pretty new to high performance stuff, is if you have an option for a single use motor, maybe go that route, because it goes a long way to not have to replace hardware if something goes wrong. Ask
Yeah,
Taylor,
a lot less risk involved.
how much does a 7680 cost?
Now I have no idea, but like way too much. Probably like $700. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, the 98 7680 is $925. I just sold one of those and bought one of those, but so I listed it for $610 or whatever I paid for the blue one, and Doug was about it instantly. I was like, all right, great, that works for me. And then I looked up how much those things cost now. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Who can afford this hobby? That's patreon.com/AGGpod. Okay, let's talk about level 2 for a second. Taylor, you got a suggestion? I have a feeling this one's going to be pretty universal.
The Wildman Mach 2. I mean, it's pretty good right out of the package. And then I'd do I think I would say a K455.
Yeah, okay. That's a good call. It's a sweet motor. I also put Wildman Mach 2 because it's just kind of hard to argue with the value of it. It's like 118 if you're not a Wildman Club member, and it's like full head end dual deploy minimum diameter rocket with pretty optimized fin shape and just pre-beveled. Everything's super easy. It comes with Proline 4500, and a dude, he's kind of stupid and hard to listen to, but he made a video showing how to build it for Wildman.
If you can make it through the video with his monotone voice.
Yeah, if you can tolerate gray value Ben Stein explaining how to build the rocket, then it's a really good place to start. Just be careful with the Proline 4500 that they give you, because it's really easy to accidentally use too much and then not have enough left to do all the fillets. If I was going to build one again, I would either tack the fillet or tack the fins on with like JP Quick or just CA, because this was great about like 54 and 38 minimum diameter rockets, is that you're kind of playing in a zone that there's not a lot of repercussions for slight discrepancies in like fin alignment, or if you've got air bubbles in your epoxy or something's not quite right. These are still like small enough fin spans that your 3/16 or 8th inch fins aren't really risking fluttering and coming off. You just put big enough fillets on anything, and to a certain point, you'll be more than good. So I recommended the L1000 for mine, because at this point, it's only $30 more than an L1090. So if something goes wrong, you've only lost an additional $30 instead of the $240 you would have spent on a 54-2800. Same kind of goes with the i500 versus 38-720 and doing an i600. The i500, I think, pretty much is the exact same price as an i600. So I think it's less than $10 different. And I'm starting again, Taylor, to be like, maybe DMS is cool. Because it's like the same amount of money for certain
It's like
applications like this.
the extra money you pay is just like an insurance fee for not having to replace hardware.
Right. And if you fly it, I mean, if you fly like 4 L1000s, and you've probably broken even on having just bought a 54-2800 and 4 L1090s. But is it worth it? Like, let's be honest, you're going to be way more reckless if you're doing L1000s. You can just you can glue a fin straight to the motor case. That's an option, like I did with my K455. Or you could do the K455. But that rocket, I already had most of the components, so I just built that thing for like $24. So all that really happened was I destroyed the electronics because it came in ballistic. I'd recommend not doing that part, if I'm honest. But this, however, is kind of where, I mean, it's not like really advisable, but you could do an i500 in a minimum diameter rocket without tracking. It's going to go like 10,000 feet. Mine did pretty much 10 on the nose. It's a small rocket to have a chance of seeing from 10,000 feet. It's not impossible. However, K455, L1000, minimum 54 is you're gonna want tracking of some flavor. So, but also 54 electronics bays also suck. So,
Not as much though.
yeah, not as much.
They're a little better.
I mean, if you use the modern small altimeters like the Blue Jay or even a Blue Raven, you could easily fit 2 in a 54 without it being too bad. Compared to fitting like I back in the day had a little dog that I stuffed 2 Perfect Flight high out 45Ks and 9 volts in.
Dude, how? How is that possible?
It was just jammed in there.
That is
100% full. Yeah.
I had my Dark Star only had 1 altimeter because I was like, there's just no shot. I'm not even going to try. Yeah. So I guess I'll run into that again, but I have Blue Jays now. So I could just put 2 Blue Jays in there and have room for 3 trackers if I wanted. Damn. Kids these days have it too easy, you know?
Oh.
Shane, what'd you do for your level 2 recommendation?
I also went for, unsurprisingly, the Mach 2. And then I put like 4 motor choices, and it was, K375, K455, or L1000, L1090.
Seems pretty universal then. The nice thing about a Mach 2 too is if you like don't want to go that hard at first, you can just put like a 4-grain in it. I mean, they still go really fast with some 4-grain motors, like K1103s. Push them nice and hard. K1100s, of course. If you can get your hands on the K2045. Or you could do a K2050, which is like cool, but not as cool as a K2045. We've had this conversation before. We can keep it moving. Okay. This is where S is going to get a little crazy. What are we recommending for level 3? Before we say rockets, okay? Let me just maybe suggest, before you venture into 3-inch and bigger minimum diameter rockets, I highly recommend checking out the Rocketry forum thread that's called Composite Bonding and What Your Government Doesn't Want You to Know. It's pinned in the high power section. It's from a person who works at a composites lab explaining best procedures for bonding composite materials. This is sort of my Bible when I build a high performance rocket or something that's going to go fast, because I've had people ask, they're like, why are you using 220 grit sandpaper or 180 grit sandpaper for prepping this stuff instead of 80 or 60, or taking a Bowie knife and scratching the S out of your stuff before you bond it? People do crazy stuff, like drill holes in things.
Yeah.
Which is like taking surface area away, which doesn't really make sense in my head.
I love the Sawzall blade. I think that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, like doing the cross hatching, like it's a cylinder wall. You can actually do more harm than good by going too aggressive with the coarseness of the sandpaper. I now have 2 rockets 3-inch or bigger under my belt that have gone over Mach 2 with using this standard as the understanding of bonding composites. Next, I would highly advise investing in a cheap, like the one I use is Vivor, the vacuum chamber. I'll put a link in the description to the Amazon link for the one that I got mine from. Because degassing your fillets in this kind of situation also goes quite far. Because this is sort of the threshold where you start running into getting fast enough that you can really, really start running into problems. So, bonding, keeping everything clean, wearing gloves. You go watch the video where I build the JB Weld M1675 rocket or the N1000 rocket, the bobs. You can see I was pretty meticulous with keeping everything clean, using really high proof isopropyl alcohol, making sure everything was as well bonded as it possibly could be. So, Anything else? Any other suggestions before we give rocket specifics? Just stepping into M impulse and higher minimum diameter is kind of entering the danger zone. The expensive to F up zone, if you will.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, great. Okay, well, does anybody want to make a recommendation?
I'll bite. Wildman Falcon 3 and an M685.
Dang, the Falcon 3 straight to the carbon fiber. How much is that thing? Like $700?
There's a glass one.
Wait, so there's a glass Falcon 75 and a Mach 3 also?
Unless I read it wrong, which is not outside the realm of possibilities.
I mean, that doesn't seem like something that wouldn't happen.
Or maybe
either.
it's just fiberglass fins.
Yeah, that's
no.
possible. I also like how the 4-inch one's the Falcon 98, but the 3-inch one's the Falcon 3. Why? There is also a carbon fiber Mach 3, which is just a Falcon 3, I assume. What's really the difference? Except maybe the Falcon's super long, because the 98 one sure was. It had a whole bunch of extra length that, as you know, I chopped off for the N1000 flight.
So it turns out I just got them mixed up.
Uh-huh. So
meant for it to be the Mach 3.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, because it's a really good deal. $217.80. And like the Mach 2, it's head-end dual deploy. It doesn't come with epoxy or anything, but the Proline 4500 is a really good epoxy for doing this kind of thing. Or you can just use JB Weld. Taylor, what's your recommendation?
Mach 3, Wildman Mach 3, cut it down. I don't know, enough. I don't really know how long the tube is. And M1850 with the tail cone closure.
Whoa, he's going big, folks. That's what you'd recommend to somebody who's like, I want to get into level 3 powered minimum diameter rockets. What should I do? You're going M1850 tail cone cut down rocket.
Yeah, I feel like there's different categories for it. Because there's like the aspect of it, like our previous guest, the Boosk, where you just want to go fast, you put the M1850 in it. But if you want to go high, you put the M685 in it.
Yeah, except I've seen so many M685s, including my own, not go very straight. Whereas an M1850, it's gonna, if you aren't flying at high altitude, you'll basically do 28 or 30K.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Eric still turned pretty hard, his M1850. Granted, it's because of that tower that you hated so much. Right?
Oh my
god. But yeah, I mean, I also did Mach 3 or Falcon 3 if you want to spend the money for carbon fiber. It's a 48-inch tube, so I would cut it down personally, but I recommend the M685 because anybody that's like looking to get into their first minimum diameter project, coming at it slowly is probably the best recommendation I could give if you're like really haven't done a lot of composite work and stuff like that. Because I mean, that's the reason I did it. I was like, yeah, I'll do minimum diameter and I'm going to do an N1000 because that's the easy one. And it worked. So what can I say, you know? But yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend if you're like, oh, I'm level 3 now. What should I do for minimum diameter? I would not advise going to ends immediately, unless you got a ton of money to blow. But Yeah, so I mean, just prep your composites correctly, and if you can degas your fillet epoxy, do that, and just be clean and thoughtful about it. You know, the general, what is it, 4 to 8% of your fin root should be the radius of your fillet in inches. So 8 inch, or we'll say 10 inch Rocky. That's what, 0.8 inch or 10 inch root would be a 0.8 inch fillet radius. My God, I can't talk today. 1.6 inch tool to make your fillets roughly. I think for the Falcon 98, I'm pretty sure I used a 2.25 diameter device for my fillets. They're big, but they worked. They weren't like grotesquely large though. Like Shane's Punisher 5 fillets.
Yeah, those are huge.
Which is funny because I think it's just because ours are small, because yours is still like 8%. So it's like, in the world of that aerodynamic thought processing, correct. But they just look giant compared to ours because they are. Which is funny because it really doesn't weigh that much extra, but you know, whatever. Okay. Any other recommendations for people looking to get into high performance stuff, just in general?
I had it like in a second line. If you're big balling for the L3 one, go with the Falcon 4 and N1000 or N3300.
Falcon 98, thank you.
Oh yeah, my bad.
How fast would that go on an N3300? I feel like not as fast as I might think.
Mach 3-ish, little under.
Well, let's see. I have the
Right
file.
around.
Granted, this is for the Bob, so this is a shortened Falcon 98. But for Mach number, Ras Arrow says
2.6.
Yeah, 2.65. That's pretty. I mean, maybe we should just put an N3300 in that thing. Eric wants to fly it again. You got another N1000, but he kind of hates the N3300 now. He blames the motor for the rockets not flying straight, which I'm here for.
Admittedly, that's a better motor. Yeah, that motor would give you a better chance of a straight flight. I mean,
Dude,
you got to
my
really...
flights are my flights just work.
Yeah, but it had the magic tower.
Yeah, I still own the magic tower, so it's fine. It sims so much lower than the N1000 though. I guess it's probably because you're like fighting so much instant friction versus kind of working your way up to it with the N1000.
Yeah.
The N1000 really is just like the cheating way to do a minimum diameter N. It's like not that hardcore, and by the time it's going really fast, there's not a lot of wind resistance left to try and rip the fins off. It's just kind of easy mode for a minimum diameter N.
And I would recommend not doing flyaway guides, even though you're gonna want to. either eat the altitude and put rail buttons on it, or or find someone that maybe your club has a nice tower, or maybe your friend does, or you can find plans online to build one. But after flying out of a tower, it's definitely the way to go. And I've seen so many rockets, including my own, take a hard turn after it leaves the pad because of the flyaway guides.
Just bouncing off the fins.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
The time I flew the M1850, the shot cord incident rocket.
Yeah,
it flew at a hard angle, as if that was the only problem. But it would have been going quite fast at deployment because of the angle. So maybe that's why the shot cord broke.
Well, actually, that brings up a good point, Taylor. If somebody were coming up to you and they're like, "Hey, I'm really looking to get into high performance minimum diameter stuff. I really need to save space. Should I put this tiny 1/8 inch check cord in here? Check cord.
No. I'm now on the Kevlar mule tape train. But it's basically single use in my opinion. But it works great. I've used it twice now. To once to 40,000 seemed to work. So
Yeah, I mean, it was in my M1675 rocket as well. I put it in something else too, but I can't remember. But I also think it was a rocket that I was like, okay, I'm going to fly this once, and that's it. So,
it was in the 2-stage.
oh, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Right.
I was correct. Yeah, only flew that one time. Dude, we have to just do a 3-inch sustainer. I don't want to do another 54.
Oh,
It's S. We'll just do M to M. It's way cooler. We already figured out how easy it is to light a sustainer. It's nothing.
I just want to flex on the like impulse.
Yeah, me too. We gotta get a K62 because then we can just do it like submin and just like put the fins up high enough that the motor case just slides in to the coupler.
That motor's really short though.
Yeah, that's better. We can have the stubbiest little sustainer. It'll go 110,000 feet.
Well, back when I made the sim file for it, though, it was a little bit unstable.
Just make the fins a little bit bigger.
I think we just need to make it a little bit longer.
Oh,
the motor.
Gross. Fine, I guess we could.
I don't know. I think we should just do a K455.
Yeah, that's not a bad call. All right, I'm down with it again if I get to do it submin style because that's way cooler. Plus, I can just have Shane 3D print me some stuff. We can put a couple Blue Jays on there now.
Wait, what are we gonna? Is the igniter just taped to the outside of the rocket?
You bet your DA.
Oh.
Why not? You know,
it's gonna cost us altitude, buddy.
More than having a tube that's all the way around it?
I guess you could like glass the wires down or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be kind of nuts. But what, we could just do aluminum tape.
What if it rips it off?
You think it's going to go that fast? Low enough?
Well, I don't know. Wouldn't that be a dumb way for it to not work?
Yeah, I mean, it would. We could just put fiberglass strip over it and taper down. That just sucks because it's irreversible. So, like, if we accidentally break the E-match wire right at the end of the fiberglass, we're just like, oh, ass. We need another motor now.
Just twist and tape new igniter wires onto it.
That's pretty much what we did with the last one, and it worked because
true.
2 stages are super easy.
We could just use a little bit of a tube.
Oh, ew, dude! No way. Gross. That's sick.
Or we could use a nose cone that doesn't look like the desert.
I mean, it's worth considering.
I'm just throwing it out there. We don't have to do that, but I'm just something to consider.
Yeah, I guess that's worth thinking out. Well, while we stew on that, how about we go to the Patreon people and see what their recommendations for stepping into the world of high performance rocketry are. I asked that people, if they're giving advice, be people that at least somewhat have experience with this, and if they don't have experience, telling us what they would like to do if they want to get into high power or high performance stuff. So, we've got one recommendation from Discord. Just says KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I agree. That's pretty much what we've advised for here. The more moving parts, the more likely you are to run into a big issue. So we'll hop over to the Patreon. That's patreon.com/rocketvlogs, which is, I don't know. People have asked me if I'm still going to post the like the podcast. Yes, we'll still be going on the Rocket Vlogs Patreon and to Rocket Vlogs channel members. And I'll be posting some crossover stuff for my projects that apply the AGG stuff, but most of my like Rocket Vlog specific stuff will not be appearing on this Patreon because the new Patreon's fairly laid back compared to mine. It's not going to be quite as active. That's why it's $1 a month, or $5 or $10 if you feel like it should be. That's up to you though. Anyway, Neutronium says, in my honest opinion, the best entry point for high performance would be a Wildman Mach 2 on a K motor. It's pretty simple, will go high and fast, it has a decent amount of room for electronics, and is pretty cheap. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums up why we all picked it. It's such a good deal, dude. Under $120 with epoxy. Let her rip. Buy a few of them. Take a few tries, you know? I looked earlier. Wildman's got L1000s on sale. Not on sale, but he has them in stock on the website. So go off. Get 5 of those. Get 5 Mach 2s and just see what you can make happen. Tell them we sent you, though. Make sure you do that. Jonathan Gabriel says, I think a great entry point is 54. That's really all I can say because I haven't done much high performance stuff yet. This coming from the person who flew a minimum diameter L2200 3-inch Punisher to like 21,000 last year. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like I said, 54 is kind of a safe zone where like you can be a little bit sloppy, and it's like a good place for learning because you're not going fast enough to cause crazy issues with most 54 millimeter flights. The Boosk stands out as an exception to that rule, obviously. And if you make a absolute bare minimum length, sub minimum diameter L1000, then yeah, you're going to go pretty fast. But that one had aluminum fin can. Before we move on, can I rant about the phrase sub minimum diameter because I hate it?
Rant.
It's not possible. Sub minimum diameter would literally mean that it's smaller diameter than you would need for the rocket. I get the point. Minimum diameter is technically not correct either. Minimum inside diameter would probably be the right phrasing. But sub minimum diameter doesn't, just call it flying case. That's what it is. An L1000 flying case. Okay?
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty stupid. This is my sub min. Okay.
Yeah.
This is your flying rocket motor.
Yeah. Back in my day, we called it a flying case, and we all bent our N5800s in half.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm always like, no, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but that's not true. Because that would imply, that's like if you had a 54, the NL1000, and then you glued a 38 millimeter tube on top of it. That's a sub minimum diameter, right? Because the motor doesn't fit in the diameter of the tube because it's smaller than the diameter of the motor.
I'm gonna do that now.
I know I'm barking up the same trees to people that are like, a motor's electric and engine's gas. And I'm like, okay, well, dude, somebody tried to argue that a rocket motor is not a motor nor an engine in my comments recently.
Oh my God.
Like, this guy's next level.
Then?
It's nothing. It's a propulsion device, Shane, which isn't what an engine or motor is either.
Nope.
Dude, I love that argument. It's so tired. Like, yeah, a rocket motor is a reaction engine, but when you register your vehicle, Taylor, which branch of the Department of Engine Vehicles do you go to? I'm just curious. I know you like rally. Would you say rally's your favorite engine sport, or do you like any other ones? Personally, my favorite engine sport is drifting. God. And another thing. No, I'm just kidding. We can move on now. Doug says, step 1 to flying high and fast, move somewhere within a couple hours drive of the Mojave Desert. If you don't have regular access to high waivers, you won't get enough practice to iterate and compound your experience. If you can only go to balls or far or whatever once every 3 years, and the rest of the time you live in an area with a 5K waiver, it's hard to believe someone who doesn't get to practice will get demonstrably better. I don't agree with that. Dude, I legitimately think anyone who's like meticulous and careful, whether or not they've ever built a minimum diameter rocket, could buy a Falcon 98, buy Proline 4500, and buy an N1000 and do exactly what I did. Because honestly, for as crazy as that flight seems from the outside world, that is such a watered down 4-inch minimum diameter flight. And honestly, again, one of the easiest rockets in terms of structure I've ever built, because everything's big enough that it's just really easy to get right. Shane made me a fin guide. I glued all the fins on at once, I think. Maybe I did them one at a time. It doesn't matter. I just tacked them on with JB Quick, pop the 4500 in the chamber, pour it out, pull the fillets, make everything look good with a little bit of sanding. Like, I measured stuff and took a lot more care than I usually would with just like a normal fiberglass rocket. But when you're setting the bars, the amount of care I would normally take is virtually none. All it took was a little bit of like precision, and you could just fly an N1000 in that rocket. It's not a hard thing to do. So I don't think it's necessarily true that you have to go through the process of like ruining a bunch of rockets trying to get decent at flying a minimum diameter rocket. All you really have to do is see what everyone else has done, what went wrong and why. Say, put 2 minimum diameter rockets. Well, no, just one. Put 2 rockets in the ground that went pretty high, and then realize that maybe it's time to change the way you're doing your ejection charges. And voila, as the French say. Then your rocket's parachute comes out. If I had just gone straight to the charge canisters, I never would have had a problem. And that was really the only thing I was running into. All I'm saying. Plus, there's a lot of high altitude flights or sites that aren't in the Mojave Desert. Brothers Oregon has 40,000. Tripoli, Idaho has 40,000, although they don't really have a launch site right now. Argonia has 50,000. What's Tripoli, North Texas?
I think they have. I don't. Someone was. They may have Windows to 30. I don't know.
I mean, that's plenty. Like, you can do pretty
like,
big mode.
Northern Colorado, I think, has Windows to 30 also.
Yeah, NCR has 30,000, plus you get the altitude. Tripoli, North Texas has 45,000. So you could do minimum diameter M's. And
wait, they have 45,000 now?
Yeah, I just looked at their website. It says our new waiver is 45,000. Dude, you could fly an N there. With that elevation, it's probably like the Bobs on the N1000 sims to like 42 in Argonia. Probably not that different of an elevation. You can do a lot of stuff at a lot more places than you might think. And he says step 2 is to get Loki hardware if you want to maximize commercial off-the-shelf performance. I mean, I kind of agree. Loki motors kind of do have the spiciest impulse levels for hardware sizes. But if you're going to make your own motors, might I suggest Fisher Research hardware from Binder Design. It's a little bit cheaper, but it's also snap ring stuff. Or find an old person that's getting out of the hobby or hasn't flown a rocket for 10 years and buy all of their AMW and Cosden and Gorilla hardware, because it's all the same size as Loki hardware. You can look it up, dude. Jeff Taylor, the original creator of Loki Research, happily admitted repeatedly that his hardware was all exactly to Animal Motorworks spec, which was all exactly to Cosden spec, within a few cases with small differences. But Macho Matt has joined us at the back end. Matt, we were just about to read the very last comment. Okay, so after this, we'll let Matt give his opinion on what people should build to get into high performance rocketry. We were talking earlier, Matt, about how we're all qualified to talk about this now because we've all done 30,000 feet or higher and over Mach 2. But now that you're here...
So kind. Thank you very much for leaving that for me.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, good transition. The last comment comes from Liam. He says, I am 1000% not qualified to tell anyone in high power how to do something for now, but I would suggest a Wildman mini Mach with an i500 cut down in like the Bob so it can barely fit the i500. Okay, I'm with you on the i500, the mini Mach. Don't cut it down. There's no reason to try to optimize that tiny rocket. You're just going to create a nightmare trying to get electronics to work in that thing. L2, I would suggest a Mach 2, the K300 cut down. So nope. I would not suggest a K300 to anyone at all at this point. K270? K250. We'll go K250. And level 3 was just Falcon 98 cut down, so it can barely fit an N1560. You wouldn't be cutting a lot away. That's a long motor. Or an N5800, which is the very last motor I would ever suggest anyone for getting into high performance stuff to try. But I like the spirit. But yeah, that'd be like Matt gets his level 3. He's like, you know what? I want to do something minimum diameter. We'll be like, Matt, okay, here you go. You're gonna get this Falcon 98, and you're gonna fly an N5800. That's a good way to guarantee somebody who like never flies a rocket again. Like, wow, that was $5,000, and it's all gone because it turned when it went Mach 4. All right, Matt. Level 1. What are you suggesting someone who wants to do a high performance flight to do?
What I would suggest them to do is, one, that they should build a rocket.
And then what?
Fly it.
Wow.
Very deep.
Okay.
Okay. Honestly, I mean, so I got into high power rocketry with a scratch belt rocket, which I thought was a lot of fun because it reminded me of when wow. Thank you, all those people out there. Anyway, yeah, doing. You guys, you're so kind. Anyway, yeah, I think doing the scratch belt was pretty cool and special. It kind of reminded me of when I did that with low power or model rockets. I would make a lot of scratch.
We're talking about high performance, Matt.
Oh, high performance, not high power.
Yeah, well, also high power, particularly high performance.
Just I don't know.
Thank you, Matt.
Put a big motor in it. There you go.
I think Matt what he was getting at was to take after the Boosk and scratch build, so far as to make your own tubes and make your own nose cones. Like, if you're gonna get into it, really get into it, right, Matt?
That's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah, it wasn't that funny,
All right.
guys. Get out of here.
How was your HOA meeting? We told the people at the beginning that that's where you were. So how's it looking?
They agreed to keep me in the neighborhood for another year, so we're good.
What, they can just kick you out?
Just kidding. No, it was good. We actually talked about stuff. It's actually I really like it. I like the neighborhood, and it's really not that bad to be in the HOA. I know everyone's probably like, "Oh, you're in the HOA," but it really is not that bad. I don't really do a whole lot yet, but
the neighborhood we're moving into in a few weeks has an HOA. So
you should definitely be on the board. It's a lot of fun, Braden. Yeah.
No. What would be crazy is, like, if somebody, even if I wanted that, if somebody was like, okay, it's on Tuesday nights, can you make it? I'd be like, what have I been doing every Tuesday?
Yeah,
for
I
2
know. But hey, I'm here.
I'm
here.
Unbelievable.
Classless, man.
I'm here.
You could not. I'll never go to an HOA meeting, and for sure not be on the board.
Well, I'm like a golden retriever and you're like a black cat, Taylor.
All right. Well, I guess that's a good transition for us to read our comment of the week. So if you leave a comment on our YouTube channel, any video really, you have a chance of being the comment of the week on the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. This week's comes from Robert Nation, who we met at LDRS. Says, it was awesome getting my level 1 on the 4-inch T-Log. This is from our $350 level 3 rocket challenge. I'm going to have fun with that for a while, but I'm definitely going to have to keep Taylor's idea on the back burner. It'd be way cool to get my level 2 on the Big Brother. Keep it up, guys. All right. Nice. Well, thank you, Robert. I agree. That's a great step up to go to the 7.5-inch T-Log. Dude, I already wanted one, but after that, I've been kind of like looking at them repeatedly. It'd be kind of sick.
They're cool.
Dude, we
it's
just got
a good size.
Let's build a 16-inch one.
Oh.
I saw some sonotube.
That could be our project for Kyle's P motor.
Whoa.
Yeah, perfect. We could do it really cheap. There was one other comment I was going to put in here, Taylor. Maybe you could make a video about this. But they were curious how you built the hot wire cutter for the nose cone.
PVC pipe.
I was going to
Knife
say I
filled
thought
it
I
in.
had made a video, but probably
Oh,
not.
maybe the
That prob-
footage exists.
Yeah, the footage
but
may exist.
This guy, dude. You just need to get on Fiverr and pay somebody $20 to edit your video. Okay, well, does anybody else have anything? We can cut this episode a little bit short because next week is the 100th episode extravaganza live on the Rocket Vlogs YouTube channel. We're going to be going for 15 hours or until we fully funded building a 24-inch Punisher.
Oh,
Cool.
We're going to need 3 CTI 08000s. Okay. And so that means we're going to need to pull 30 G's in on the donations. So get your given wallets ready.
Looking forward to it.
No, actually, what we're going to do is play Rocket Jeopardy. How's that coming, Shane?
I haven't worked on it, but I've been thinking of ideas for it. So I've got some in the memory bank.
All right.
Wicked.
That's good. Maybe write them down or start working.
Well,
you have
trust me.
a week.
Be sure to put
Yeah,
some.
that's a whole week, man.
Be sure to put some Weenie Hut Junior ones in there for me, please.
I got you.
Okay,
man.
training wheels are still coming.
Yeah,
on.
I think we're going to have to establish some that are maybe Matt should just get his own category.
yeah.
So we can't pick from the Matt category. But if we control the board, or if Matt controls the board, he can, if he wants to branch out, he can go for a different category and it could be worth double the points or something.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Jepper cap. If you
Okay,
will.
that's fun.
A handicapper.
Yeah.
Also, I've got 2 people that I think are going to pop in, be guests for 10 to 15 minutes each.
Awesome.
So we have a good time. It's going to be a good show. Live and alive in front of the entire world.
Oh my god.
Well,
Or
I
a
think-
small percentage.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, the entire world has the ability. No, that's not true. The entire internet has the ability to watch.
Wow.
They probably won't. But dude, what if we just got
Yeah.
5,000 people, just randomly people popping? I have no idea what this. I don't know what this is, but okay.
Like the raid train
That'd be
thing. That
phenomenal.
was fun.
I thought about doing it on the Anti-Gravity Group channel, but then I couldn't do it on the Rocket Vlogs channel. It kind of creates a whole issue in the back end with Riverside. So we'll just be pushing people over the Anti-Gravity Group channel, which reminds me, go comment on the Double Arcus video because one random comment's going to be picked from the comments of that video to win a $100 Wildman Rocketry gift card when we hit 1,000 subscribers. Anybody else have anything to say about high performance rockets?
How far away from 1,000 subscribers are we?
We've got 535.
Oh boy.
All right. My name is Braden Carlson. You can find me on YouTube at Rocket Vlogs or on Instagram at BigB1011. Go check out the new Rocket Vlogs Facebook page and Instagram account as well. They're just Rocket Vlogs and Rocket Vlogs Official. I've just been posting shorts and stuff there and leaking some behind the scenes Estes stuff. And that's all I got.
My name is Taylor, and you can find me on YouTube at The Rocket Channel.
My name is Shane. You can find me on YouTube at Postart Propulsions and online at hprtools.com.
All right. All right.
Oh, my name is Matt, and you can just find me right here sometimes.
All right. We are the Anti-Gravity Group. This is the Anti-Gravity Group podcast, episode 99. We will see you all if you're watching this and listening to this on release day tomorrow evening, July 15th, 2025, for the live 100th episode celebration. And we will see you all next time.
Woo!
We might just hear from Nigel the Rocket Cat. Load up the professional masterpiece, you can bet on that. A launch and a chat with them is guaranteed to be a blast. It's the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. Ooh, 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 ooh.